Let's look at some of the icons that are on our home screen. The top two icons, the map and the generic compass, those are preset to those locations on every Alpha 100. You can't change those. The other icons, I've got 4 available on my home screen. I can tailor those to whichever ones I want to have most easy access to. So in our case, I've got the where to, a more advanced compass, a sight and go, and a mark. And there are lots of other things on these other pages, and you can order these as you wish as well. So again, I've kind of ordered them so that the ones we see probably going to use most often are closer to the top. On the map icon, this is one of the places where you'll be able to see what your current GPS location is, and also tell you the date and the time. This kind of 5-bar indicator tells you how strong your GPS signal is. I'm inside, so I don't have a very good signal, but I've got enough to tell me a rough location of where I am. And you can see we've got it set to decimal degrees. We'll talk about GPS coordinate systems in a different training. You can hide this informational area by tapping this arrow here to get to a full screen map if you wish. Punch that arrow again, gets it back. Now this information here is going to be displayed whenever you're not in navigation mode. This area is going to change into a CDI compass, a course deviation indicating compass, whenever you're in navigation mode. So you'll see that change depending on what function you're in. The rest of this page is the map. So there is a base map preloaded in here. You can't pinch and drag, even though this is a touch screen, you can't pinch and drag this screen. You have to use the plus and minus. So you can see I've got roads, I've got topographic indicator lines, I've got water bodies, I've got other things here. The further out we go, and you can see your scale right here, the bigger the area we have, but the less detail we have. So depending on what you want to see, zoom in or zoom out. The very lowest screen is 30 foot. Other things on here, you can see this is the center where you are located. So that blue arrow is you or this GPS, and the arrow is indicating the direction in which you're facing. Now these GPS units do have a compass in them. So if I were to rotate that, you can see that that icon actually rotates to the direction that you're facing. Our previous MAP 76 units, they didn't have compasses built into them. It only knew which way you were traveling, not facing. The blue lines here, they're the squiggly lines. These are the places that I've been. It's called my track. And because this is the unit 3-0 with the base station functions that I've put on it, these other, and you can drag this map, you can't pinch and drag it, but you can drag it. These other lines, colored lines, are the tracks of the other 5 units. So you can see I've got unit 4-1 is active. It's right there. And unit 2-1 is active, and that red line is its track. And unit 1-1 is active as well. Now, the unit 3-1 here, it's got a question mark next to it. We don't know, this GPS unit doesn't know where that is right now, where 3-1 is. Now, that might be because the unit's not currently on. It may have lost GPS signal, so it doesn't even know where it is, or we may have lost radio communication between this unit and that unit. So even though it knows where it is, I don't know where it is. But what it's displaying is its last known location. So that's why there's a question mark next to it. You can also see that I've got some pretty straight tracks here. You know, it shows that unit 2-1 is doing a little ambling around here, and then has a very, very straight track. It doesn't necessarily mean that that's exactly where that unit went. What more likely it means is that it knew this location and it knew this location, and it just assumed that it went straight from one to the other because it had no more information to go on. Other things you can see on the map here is I've been moving around. Anytime I tap the map anywhere or I move the map to where that pointer is, I get some information up on the top here that tells me the heading to that point from my current location and the distance. Or the coordinates and the heading and the distance. So if I ever wanted to get rid of that, I can hit the X and that'll make that go away. I'm still not at the center of my screen until I hit the back button though. Once I hit the back button, I get my informational window back up and I'm back at the center of the screen. I can also click on one of my other units that I've got linked in. So unit 1-1 is 115 feet away from me at a heading of 314 degrees. So if I wanted to find that, I could, or find that unit, I could. 4-1 is there. And again, 3-1, the last known location is there. So if we ever lost someone in the woods, we could at least go to their last location. The other units besides 3-0 that are not the base station unit, I have those set so that you won't see all the tracks of all the other units. You will see the other units on the screen, but you'll only see your own track. Anytime you lose GPS reception, it'll tell you that because it's important for you to know that. It beeps at you. And at the same time, it sends out a signal to the other units that says that unit lost its GPS. It sent a signal to every other unit saying, hey, unit 3-0 has lost its GPS reception. So it just kind of keeps you in tune with that. We'll talk about some other things on the map. If you ever go to the map page or the compass page and you see no numbers up here and you see red, 1 or 2 dashes, that means you don't have GPS reception. So that is not a good sign. You don't know where you are. So holding the unit more upright with the GPS antenna, which is under the cap here, holding it more upright will give you a better chance to get a clear view of the sky and get a GPS signal. Now, I'm actually inside in the basement, so I don't have a very good GPS lock here. That's why it's not giving me a great location right now. Other things on the main page here, as I said, this is kind of a generic compass. It just tells you the way that the compass is pointing. And again, if you rotate that, the compass rotates. So it acts very much just like a regular compass. There isn't a ton of information you can get from that. So instead of that compass, I'm going to plan on using and suggest that you use this compass instead. This one gives us more information. It has the same sort of generic compass. It gives us a couple of numerical readings as well, but it allows us to have this compass page up on, or this informational page up on top of the compass. And when we are in navigation mode, you're going to see that this compass is going to change to that CDI compass, which has some directional arrows, a course deviation indicator, and other things. So that's going to be probably a much more well-used compass than just the generic one up here. But as I said, I can't move that one out of there. If I could, I would just put this compass up here and get that generic one out of there altogether. So those are kind of the main home screen functions and kind of way things look on the screen. And then in each of the upcoming video segments here, I'll show you how to use each one of these icons for the various functions that I think are going to be important to us in the fire department.